Okay, welcome to the Redondo Beach local election candidate discussion for Council District 1. I'm Ann Garton with SafeMark Digital Marketing, and I will be your moderator for this discussion. First, congratulations, Councilman Nehrenheim, on your decision to run for re-election to City Council. Today's format will be as follows. Throughout the discussion, the timekeeper will hold a yellow card when there are 15 seconds left on the clock for you to speak. The timekeeper will hold a red card when time is up on the clock. You will have a total of 30 minutes to answer the 8 pre-selected questions, which were emailed to you and to each candidate prior to today's Zoom call. When there are 15 minutes left to speak, the timekeeper will advise you of the time left on the clock. So with that, we're ready to get started, and you may begin with a 1-minute opening statement.
All right, thank you guys very much for hosting us and having this forum. It's fantastic to be able to talk to you in the business community and the community at large. It's been an absolute honor for the last 4 years to serve this community, to work with Riviera Village, work with the harbor, Artesia corridor. The many residents have reached out. It's been amazing. It's been a tough 4 years. We've got a lot done these last 4 years, more so I think than any other prior 4 years. And it's been a tremendous amount of personal commitment on my part to move this community forward. You know, we've got a lot done, a lot of lawsuits that we've won to move things forward, a lot of positive things happening in the Riviera Village, the garden parkettes. The pandemic has definitely threw a sidestep to us, but we made a silver lining out of that. So I really want to thank everyone for their help and making things happen in our awesome community. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So first question, please share your top 2 to 3 priorities for the city of Redondo Beach if you are reelected to City Council, and what are your plans to accomplish them?
Thank you. So yeah, my top 3 priorities are ensuring that our public safety department stay local with the best training and equipment possible. Number 2, rejuvenate our beach life culture with focus on our main street locations. And number 3, continue to make our traffic and the streets safe for our neighborhoods and kids. To accomplish these, on my first priority, I'm going to seek out partnerships such as Manhattan Beach Fire Department, Manhattan Police, Manhattan Beach, other cities like Torrance, Beach Cities Health District, to look for ways to share in training and staffing. A lot of things people don't understand is that in public safety, you need to do a lot of training and equipment, and sharing that equipment and training is a tremendous amount of cost savings. So, moving forward, I'm not going to be accepting any more cuts to our fire department. I voted no this last year on last budget cuts that we passed in June. We're at bare bones level with our fire department right now. Additionally, our harbor patrol needs a new look. Excuse me. We have county lifeguards down on the harbor. We have duplication of services that the county lifeguards and the harbor patrol both do at the same time. So right there, we have a win-win. And lastly, our outgoing fire chief is retiring at the end of February, which provides us a real opportunity for a fresh look at the fire department, just as we did with our police department a couple of years ago when we had an outgoing police chief. Our police department is top-notch with a chief who is focused on community-driven leadership. Coffee with a Cop, which started here in Redondo Beach, has gone nationwide. We need to continue to build that groundwork that we can apply for and win many other grants and federal policing grants and other opportunities, exactly like what we've been doing moving forward. So keeping these local services is paramount. We can create relationships with our outside agencies to create win-win relationships. My second priority, in the last 4 years, we started streetscapes and upgrades for the village, focusing on outdoor dining and creating a sidewalk dining program. This is all to rejuvenate our beach life culture and focus on our main street locations. I'm going to focus our Riviera, ensure our Riviera Village has outdoor dining for the long term, working with the Coastal Commission. I was the one who helped create Measure C, got that passed through the Coastal Commission. I know how to work with the Coastal Commission and work with what they require to get something like that done. I've already started the planning process with the city staff to move the outdoor dining and the garden parquet program forward. Additionally, the sidewalk dining program, which was started just about 2 years ago, created incentives for business owners to upgrade the public rights of ways with reduced rental subsidies for the money that they put into the program. So providing capital improvements to the village, more sidewalk improvements, streetscape improvements. Already we have $50,000 allocated for this. I'll be expanding that moving forward for the Riviera Village. We've done a lot of great work in the village and in other places like the Artesia Boulevard. We got $2 million for them. For the third priority, which is continue to make our traffic streets safe through better traffic control and bike lanes. We already have sought out and won many grants. In fact, right now we're currently working on Nob Hill and many other bike lanes. If you see the LED stop signs in our neighborhoods, well, a lot of those are because of me and things that I moved forward. Those were born because we put in over $500,000 in the traffic and street safety program, which specifically targeted the schools and the intersections around those schools to ensure that we have safe intersections for the kids to cross at. So I'm going to be moving all those things forward, moving those ideas for grants, continue to work with partnerships with outside jurisdictions, and create more partnerships with private entities.
Okay, thank you. Question 2, in addition to disrupting all of our lives, the COVID-19 pandemic has hit local businesses especially hard. What resources and assistance would you advocate for to assist Redondo Beach businesses throughout the safely reopening process?
Yeah. So, this is tough because the pandemic has hit our local businesses extremely hard. Some almost shutting down for good. Some already have shut down for good. The statewide and countywide shutdown orders have given very little room for businesses such as retail and restaurants to survive. I saw this personally as an opportunity to find partners and seek out grants to help our local businesses. In doing so, I found federal funding assistance, over $84,000 in federal funds for the Riviera Village. That went directly to the business owners, and another $64,000 for citywide businesses, including $40,000 specifically for Artesia Boulevard. That money came from federal grants that we passed through from the city to them to move those things forward. Those things created the Garden Parkette program down in the Riviera Village. I worked with the private partners such as Beach Life and Rockefeller, the Riviera Business Improvement District, provide those pathways for our village to grow on those garden parkettes. The Riviera Village Parkette program was born from partnerships and grant funding, and those are things that I'll be moving forward during this as we move to open up again. The Riviera Village Parkettes program became a mainstay throughout the South Bay and icon throughout LA County. Pictures of the Village Parkettes have been on CNN, Fox News, LA Times, and I'm proud to be a leader in getting this program working. I plan on even more getting private partnerships in the future and utilizing more grant awards to reinvest in our businesses, because investing into our businesses, investing into our future, we get tax dollars from that, and our community thrives because of all that.
Okay. Question number 3. What do you see as the primary assets a thriving business community brings to the city of Redondo Beach? And what will you do to support business retention, growth, and job creation in Redondo Beach?
So we have a beautiful beachside community which thrives on our ability to truly capture our beach lifestyle culture. We're not the West Side. We're not like Santa Monica with its dense concrete canyons and traffic gridlock. Listen, I'm a local lifeguard here down at the beaches. I've been a junior guard instructor for over 20 years, lifeguard for over 20 years down here. And as a small business owner, I see the value that the village being front and center moving forward. The bygone era of the main street is coming back. Our Riviera Village, Harbor Waterfront, and Artesia Boulevard can become those main streets again, full of small businesses, full of local retailers and professional services. While the Riviera Village has those right now, we can further develop those with more festivals and community gatherings and events that the community can hold down in the village to really bring the community together. I also, in the last 4 years, I led the Riviera Village Business Improvement District to get to fund a study for a parking garage just outside of the triangle, outside of Trader Joe's there, so we can put underground parking and capture an open space above. That way we can have events. We don't need to shut down the streets. We can create a real town square down for the village, bring people off the hill. Lastly, we have a tremendous amount of residential density in Redondo Beach. 93% of our daytime work traffic goes to downtown LA, El Segundo, and Torrance. So we should be able to capture that. And instead of sending those residents out of our city, capture them, come back into our city and keep them here. We should be able to capitalize on that. I plan on creating more office space, specifically for professional services and Main Street style businesses. It's really simple. When you have the amount of volume such as PCH coming through Redondo Beach, South Redondo, and then people leaving out of South Redondo, they leave onto aviation. They leave onto PCH through Hermosa, Manhattan. Those that leave through aviation go to Artesia Boulevard and go to business there and go to work there and go to enjoy their day there and go to Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. These are the things that we can create a community that's wholly inclusive of itself and creates a community that we're not driving traffic into other people's community.
Okay, thank you. Question number 4. Efforts to revitalize the Redondo Beach waterfront and the Artesia corridor have been ongoing for several years. As a council member, what role would you play to bring consensus in our community around these issues so that we can move forward with revitalization of these would-be economic engines for our city?
Well, if we're going to talk about little engines, let's not forget about the Riviera Village, because that's the engine that truly can. I mean, again, going back to the Garden Parkettes that has now been featured on CNN, Fox News, nationally, internationally. I've seen pictures of the Garden Parkettes throughout every media organization you can name, LA Times, SF Gate, everything. The harbor and Artesia corridor have received many updates and funding opportunities because of the consensus that I have already built on the council. For instance, I got $2 million for Artesia Boulevard through the South Bay Gallery upgrades when they came to us for upgrades. I got $25,000 for Moonstone Park when Northrop Grumman recently came out and rented our harbor to move some equipment. Additionally, through these consensus, we're in a planning and upgrading process of our public amenities in our harbor and waterfront. And this is a result of us working through many lawsuits that have been waged against us, and we've been successful at that. And quite frankly, we're winning everything. So we have taken back control of our harbor and waterfront, and we're now actually moving forward on an entire master plan of the harbor and waterfront. The future is bright with these 3 economic engines firing on all 3 cylinders. I plan on, number 1, building the Riviera Village outside parklets program long-term, working with the Coastal Commission to allow some of them to stay year-round. I have a plan for this already. I've been starting this process for a long-term planning process with the city. I passed Measure C through the Coastal Commission, the first ballot measure the Coastal Commission has passed without any changes in the history of California through a voter amendment. That's huge. That is something that no other city has ever done in history of California. I have the knowledge base and the ability to work with coastal commissioners, the Coastal Commission, and city staff to get that done. The Riviera Village outside garden parkettes program is no easy feat to move forward because we're going to have to take out parking and replace that somewhere else. It's part of my master plan with the underground parking garage. The harbor and waterfront planning and upgrading amenities such as the beach, his boat launch ramp, the seaside lagoon, the sports fishing pier, and Moonstone Park is already in the works. Recently, we saw the Beach Life Festival. That was a major turning point in our harbor with open space usage. The entire live music industry from around the world found our harbor and scenic beauty that it has to offer. You should expect more of that. Absolutely more of that. That our harbor has beautiful open space, beautiful views. The Beach Life Festival captured that. The Seaside Lagoon is a great opportunity for us to have outdoor events. The Artesia corridor has $2 million in artwork and upgrades of public amenities because of what I fought for and won. In addition, the corridor received $150,000 in storefront improvement program, something I started in 2017. That will continue to pay off. We can utilize the SCE Powerline corridor for residents that will give an opportunity to plan a true integration into the community with a network of bike corridors, outdoor space to be used. We can really integrate the corridor, the right-of-way with Artesia Boulevard and the community as a whole so that everyone doesn't have to get in their car and use parking and drive around. They can walk and bike and use multimodal types of transportation. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Question number 5, with significant losses in revenue to the city due to the pandemic, pressures to increase city revenues will be substantial. Please share what you would propose to balance the city budget in the next 4 years.
So, like I said, for me, my priority is public safety. And last year we had to cut $9 million out of our budget. We had to cut 32 positions. In the last 4 years, we've balanced every single budget, even though we've had higher CalPERS costs and higher CalPERS increases. One of the cuts that happened, which I did not agree with, was 25% of cutting of the staffing, the fire ladder truck. This affects South Redondo tremendously, specifically Esplanade and Avenue G dramatically. I'm not going to accept any more cuts to our fire department at all, period. No frontline fire cuts. In the last month, the council approved by 4/5 vote to give employees a raise to nearly $2 million per year starting in January 2021 and 2022. We don't have the money for our current employees now. As I said before, we cut 32 positions, 2 of which were filled. I don't know how we're going to find that money. If we expect this money to magically come back again, then it's going to be an issue. So moving forward, grants, we're going to be moving forward with online services. Recently, this last council meeting, we approved online services for dog licensing. That's going to save the city a lot of money. It's going to save employee time. Also, very importantly, CalPERS. Budget and finance, something I've been moving forward on with them, with some of the commissioners, is to get a funding mechanism, a bond mechanism to buy down our retirement debt. That can save us up to $50 million or more in the next many years in costs, interest costs that we won't have to pay. That's a huge sum of money. So again, to me, the public safety is paramount. I don't plan on cutting that. We can search for savings on online automation, doing long-term strategic cost-cutting measures such as buying bonds for our retirement costs and retirement functionalities. We can hire outside services such as city contractors to contract out the works. We don't have to buy employee time, which is long-term costs with retirement costs and functionality and management issues and things like that. So there's a lot of things we can do in that department.
Okay. Question number 6. Homelessness has become a statewide crisis. Last year, the City Council approved pallet homes temporarily located in District 4. What long-term solutions do you propose for addressing homelessness in Redondo Beach?
You know, I'm especially proud of the pallet shelter program. I'm very proud of that program. It came together because of my ability to hammer a deal with council member MD from North Redondo. I'm taking a special, I didn't come in 4 years ago into this position with a huge homeless issue. I didn't come into this issue with a big bleeding heart on this issue 4 years ago, but now I've really made this a front and center issue. Today, I can proudly say that this issue is very low on the list of issues that the community has overall. It's done every polling that the city has done. It's a very low issue. The agreement to place the shelter there in North Redondo is a huge win, because, for instance, we've already filled that shelter in North Redondo, 15 units. Filled it, and 2 people are already out of it because they've been given long-term housing and found employment because of the program. I worked the program named Project Room Key back in April and May. It is a state homeless shelter program. And I worked that program. It was 12 to 13-hour days, and I experienced firsthand the different types of homelessness. And it's not just people on the street, living in cars, living on couches, living in RVs. It's a very difficult subject. And because of that work, I also found how effective Harbor Interfaith is. And I found them $28,000 in grant money out of our CDBG funds, federal funding. And that money has directly taken people off the Esplanade. Mayor Brandon and I got some text messages a couple weeks ago for someone that was sleeping on the Esplanade. But by that evening, that person was in a hotel room and going into a project and services that money was able to provide. So, I also want to make sure that people understand that 3 years ago, we stopped funding because I made a local church that was giving out free food and services. They were creating an issue here in South Redondo. They weren't creating a program that was helpful to the community. It was quite the opposite. The neighbors were threatened by the issue. Veterans Park became a homeless encampment. And so after we took that funding away, we were able to create different programs. One is we created we started enforcing minor offenses. So our city attorney's office was able to get funding to send a city prosecutor to start enforcing minor offenses that people just don't want to see, such as littering and camping and things like that in our streets. Well, because of that, we also have homeless court now. So to provide people an avenue outside of just the revolving jail door. So community service, and to help them go into addiction services, wraparound services, so that they have a pathway to create and make themselves a better life. The homeless shelter program, pallet shelter program that we have is due in 6 months. I have a report. Last city council meeting, they are going to go to the Public Safety Commission with a full report on the status and safety of that program. And if no incidences happen and there's no issues up there with the program for the short term, I plan on extending that program for the long term because it has done great things. For instance, we can now enforce our anti-camping laws that we have in Redondo Beach because we have this program, and we're getting people off the streets into that program and getting them into long-term housing and employment. It's something that has been badly needed, and now I can honestly say that through all the things that we've been doing, the situation is much better than it was many years ago, and we're having great strides in the program, with a lot of other cities looking at us and saying, you are now the front runners in producing a program that actually works.
Okay, thank you. Question number 7. In an effort to address the housing shortage in California, the state is proposing policies that would reduce local control for individual cities and provide a one-size-fits-all solution. What will you do to preserve local control relative to zoning?
So this is another item that's very near and dear to my heart. I came into this position as an elected leader for South Redondo 4 years ago, opposing the Legato project. The Legato project, they first came in, they were asking for 180 apartments on the corner of PV Boulevard and PCH. That program, that application was way outside the bounds what they were legally allowed. I fought very hard with the community to get that application and that project into a legal sized zoning. What is so important about this high density housing issue is that I'm not a Johnny come lately. I've been fighting for this issue and fighting against the state for many, many years. It's a very complicated problem. And the GPAC recently voted to approve more high density housing along PCH, specifically here in South Redondo. I'm not going to accept that rubber stamp of the decision. We can do better. The GPAC is doing what the state is telling them to do, and the excuse is we have to do it. Well, we don't have to do that at all. We have a tremendous supply of housing in Redondo Beach. We're 11,000 people per square mile. Torrance is half of what we are, at around 5,500 people per square mile. We have plenty of housing in Redondo. What we need is affordable housing in Redondo. That's why when the South Bay Gallery came with a project for 300 units, I made sure 20% would be affordable units. So, moving forward, I have great relationships with our state elected leaders, but more important than that, because relationships and having that great relationship is one thing, but getting things done is another. Raising awareness and making things happen is the important part. Mayor Brand and I have been on the forefront up at state legislature and in the state Senate, state assembly, as well as statewide coalitions fighting against these statewide housing bills. I'm a part of many statewide coalitions that raise awareness, and we've been extremely successful. All these statewide housing bills that come due in August, last minute for approval at the state, have been defeated. And it's primarily because of the work that Mayor Brand and I have been doing for these many years, going up to Sacramento, talking with many various state legislators, because you can't just talk to the ones around us that locally represent us. You have to talk to the ones that are in the greater LA area, that are in the Bay Area. The Bay Area represents a huge contingency of high density housing advocates. They want to press their San Francisco style problems on us down here in LA. It doesn't work like that. So I've also been able to get city staff to view these housing bills in a way that is just not conducive for us. For instance, we have passed a resolution for all these housing bills, housing density bills, to oppose them. And it's really important because our schools are significantly impacted by these housing bills. High density housing produces more people, more kids in our schools. Well, where does the funding come to build that infrastructure? Where does the funding come for the traffic infrastructure, for the sewers, for the electricity, for for the parks? We're already park poor. So now we're adding more people to our community. Well, I've done a lot of things with Mayor Brown. We have a fantastic relationship on moving this forward. We've gone to great lengths to stop these bills. We've been very successful, and we've done many things that other cities haven't, such as recently we are moving down the path of getting a minimum amount of affordable housing in housing projects. So if you come to Redondo Beach with 10 units or more, citywide, we're gonna require that a certain percentage of those units are going to be affordable housing. We already have that in the coastal zone, but we plan on doing that citywide. That's something that I've done. Mayor Brand and I have looked at other cities. We're moving this forward, and we've been very successful so far at getting this discussion proactively moving forward, so that when new housing projects come to us, we have affordable housing because we have plenty of housing in Redondo.
Okay, thank you. So now we've come to our final question, and this is an opportunity for you to tell us about anything that we haven't covered or mentioned in the previous questions that you would like the voters to know.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for the time. I'm a local lifeguard. It's been here for over 20 years now. I'm a waterman. I have a small business, a small IT business, and I truly understand what it is like to be the small man on the totem pole. I have been fighting for this community, protecting this community through many different various means and ways. It's been a tremendous amount of personal commitment these last 4 years. We've kept the streets paved. We've kept the trees cut, so to speak, and we've moved forward on many various public works projects, investments that streetscape investments that prior to me being here in office haven't been done. I have realigned the focus of our city to go into bike lanes, we have built more of the master bike lane program than ever before. In the harbor, we now have opportunities in the harbor that we've never had before. We have the enhanced infrastructure funding district on the power plant site. That means now when the power plant has since changed hands, the property taxes that go to that, the county has agreed to use those monies that we are getting from the new property taxes to fund a park and maintain a park down in the harbor. These are huge opportunities that we have, that we're moving forward on. Not necessarily we have, but we're actually moving forward on. These are, we have abilities here in the Riviera Village, the streetscape improvement, the sidewalk dining. We started this 2 years ago, and now with the pandemic, we're capturing that and moving that forward even more. And I plan on moving open space to the forefront, bike lanes to the forefront, our beach culture lifestyle. I am not going to accept the high density housing that Sacramento and Santa Monicazation that everyone keeps trying to push down our throats. We have a beach culture, beach lifestyle here that I plan on preserving and rejuvenating, and making this community truly representative of who we are and why we live here. And again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time. It's been a fantastic 30 minutes, and appreciate everything that the Redondo Beach Chamber of Commerce has done these last few years. You guys do a great job getting our businesses connected and moving together. And I hope to see you guys at the virtual run in February, and hopefully the Lobster Fest when you're back next September. So yeah, I can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the event plugs, Nils. We've come to the end of the District 1 discussion, and I would like to take a moment to thank Councilman Nehrenheim for taking the time to participate in this informative event. This event was hosted by the Redondo Beach Chamber of Commerce. We wish you all the best in your campaign, and thank you again for agreeing to participate in today's discussion and for agreeing to be recorded and to make the video publicly available.
It's been an honor. It's been a true honor. Thank you very much.